got different settings on this streaming stuff, so just let me know if it's obnoxious. This is cool. I don't know if you guys see this little giant pixel that's freaking out down here. Alright, sorry. Yeah, okay, so you're right in the, yeah, it's amazing that you can download things so fast. So anyway, so I will try to talk about the like game design when I can. Not that I am some expert or anything like that, but it is what I do. So I know the guys who made this, and they are awesome. And here we go. Immediately, you're gonna use the analog stick to move around. So I'm using a controller, but immediately here they're just like A or space to flap wings. So it's just like bam. You know, yeah, it's intrusive in the world a little bit, but I'm kind of dealing with this in Duskers, where I have so much atmosphere that I don't want to make things, like, in your face. But keep in mind, this is, like, the first few seconds that someone's playing, and they know that they're playing a game. But this is gone in, like, an instant, and now they know how to flap their wings. So it's like, it's totally fine, and now back into the game, right? Like, I think I'm a little less anal about that now. So this game I play with my daughter, and we have a lot of fun because there is like a sort of a vibe about it that, like, you know, you can just kind of roam around and do what you want to do, like a sort of open worldy kind of feel. And it's very easy for her to kind of understand because, you know, birds flying, stuff like that. And I do like also that they do stuff like this. Here, I'm going to turn this down a little bit. I do like how... you know, there isn't a whole lot of instruction here. It's just like, you know, you're just kind of playing around, and when you go near the triangles, you pick up the triangles. And I know that later on I'm going to learn how to pick up rocks, which is fun. It's just fun to pick things up and drop them as a bird. Like, that's just fun. Especially with the physics of it. Isn't something gratifying about trying to knock this whole thing over? Just destroy the world. Oh, sucks to be you. And of course, diving is also a really fun thing to do, so it's just like, I think what they're doing here is they're just saying, like, what is it like to be a bird, and what are the most fun things to do as a bird, and let's just have the player do those things. And I love the art style. It's, you know, like, it's kind of like this mix between this, like, folded paper look, this almost origami look, and this kind of, sort of ancestral tribal vibe going on with, like, the very graphic elements and the colors and stuff like that. And it's nice that as the bird, all you can do is fly around and grab things on with your talons. You don't have laser beams and such. And so they're incorporating that into a health mechanic here, where it's like, all right, rather, you know, we're going to use this whole, like, just grab things with your claws and flap with your wings, and that's going to get you health. So it is kind of like destroy the environment. So this is one qualm that I'm going to bring up, oddly enough. You can carry animals, right? So you see this nest, and this bird's clearly fallen out of this nest, right? So when my daughter sees this, all she wants to do is carry this bird back into the nest, right? And so we did that, and that was great. But then every time after that, when she saw anything like a bird or anything else, she wanted to put it in the nest. And the problem is, I think, and maybe I'm crazy. Oh, you can't put that in the nest. Okay, so I just knocked... Okay, so here's the bird again. Hold on. Let me see if I can do this. I might be crazy. Get back here! This is also really fun. I know that I had some friends who were working on a chasing mechanic, and it's very difficult to do right. But it is gratifying as a bird to chase things. So I'm going to try and put this back in the nest, and maybe I'm crazy. No. Come here, come here, come here. Ah! Get over here. Alright, so the problem that I have with my daughter, but she always wanted me to put things back in the nest. And then when I go to do it, I'll see how it falls right through. And maybe that's funny, but like all she wanted me to do is put things in the nest. And after the first time, it would always fall through. And so like, it's like this, I don't know. I don't know why it does that. But having a 3-year-old that demands that you put everything in the nest and then everything always falls out of the nest, a little tough. So there's kind of a larger goal in here, and then you find these letters, and I haven't played the game a ton, but when you find these letters, and so this is kind of fun, these kind of wind chimes, but when you find these letters, okay, so the triangles you find, and then you kind of fill up these temples or statues. And so I haven't gotten far enough yet that I've found out as far as the words and the lettering. Okay, so you can make this cool little noise, which I love, and it'll kind of show you the way. I didn't even remember that from the other game. I think maybe I didn't find that or something like that. This is also kind of fun too. There'll be these peaks, and there's wind, and so it'll like blow you into the mountain, and it's hard to get over. So that if you get some momentum going. In theory, you can get over this bad boy. I swear I was better at flying before. I swear, like, every time I hit the A button, it took me further than this. Maybe when you get later in the game, your wings get bigger or something like that? I don't know. So yeah, so this is Secrets of Roulette, which I can't pronounce well, and you can make fun of me for that. And it's a really nice game. It's fun to just fly around, and this is very fun to play with my daughter because she can identify with this stuff and what we're doing, and there isn't a whole lot of dialogue. And later on, you find these larger creatures and stuff like that, so it's actually really cool. Oh, I'm like one away. Hold on. Okay, I can't leave with just one of these things open. That's just not going to work for me. I think I only need one. I'm not really sure. Oh, and over. That was a gratifying moment. That kind of felt like, I don't know if you guys have seen me play Skate or Don't. Actually, that's what I should play. That's a really fun game. And that is not in my Steam library. And it needs to be. You guys need to greenlight the crap out of that game. Here, hold on. Let me see if I can get back over. See, what you need to do is get, like, some momentum, I think, with your flapping. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Boom! I really did just need one. I literally needed one triangle. One piece of the Triforce. And we're all set. Can you guys hear me alright? Let me know if you can. Okay. So that is a brief look at this game. Again, I kind of like to roll through a bunch of games at once, and then I can return to some next week, if you guys want. But yeah. And let me know if you guys have any questions on any of this stuff. Alright, so we played, briefly, Secrets of Roulette. So now what I'm going to do... We played this a little bit last week. If you guys want... It's always fun to play, and it's actually pretty fast, so I could play that. Broken Sword... I could play. I don't know if I have that again. I don't know if I also have that installed on this computer either. I'm realizing that some of these games I have installed on my machine at home. Broken Sword. Where would that be? Where would that be? Why am I missing it? Am I missing it? There it is. Install. This is a little bit bigger, yeah, so I'm probably not going to be able to install that just right now while we're streaming. I could show you guys Light. Let me see. Amalar, I also don't have installed, so that's going to take too long. I can talk about these briefly, though. Reckoning Kingdoms of Amalar is basically an RPG that has a very Fable-like art style, and it's got kind of a cool... what's up, buddy? Justin Bailey. There you are. Very smart right there. Oh. This is what Double Fine people do. They just dance. And play video games. What else we got? Oh, yeah. So, it's basically a Fable-style RPG, which I was told was good, and I really liked the opening for. I was playing it a little bit, with my family watching or whatever, and it seems like it's decent enough. I sometimes am put off by a lighter color palette like you'd find in Brothers or Fable, sometimes. But it seems like a decent game, but I haven't played enough of it to really talk too much about it. Broken Sword 5. So I bought Broken Sword. I had never played it on PC, and I bought it for iPad because I was trying to find cool iPad games to play when we got an iPad. And it basically it was cool. It was well done for a very old game, and so we kind of enjoyed it. And so when Broken Sword 5, I think it got kickstarted and then it came out, I bought that. And Holly and I started playing it, and they kind of kept the style true, and the gameplay is kind of similar. It's very classically point and click, with some hokey jokes and stuff like that. The only thing I would criticize about Broken Sword 5 is that they started off with, I guess what I would call like a CG, like 3D animated sequence, and the animation is dreadful. And I know that I worked at DreamWorks Animation, and I know that I'm a little bit anal about that kind of stuff. But I think my problem is the game itself has kind of a render to it that like makes it look like it's 2D, even though it's 3D. And so with those 3D assets and stuff, they didn't need that. They could have just told the opening story with simple 2D panels that could have been drawn nicely with just a little bit of parallax, and you can get away with a lot of stuff. Like in A Virus Named Tom, I knew that I couldn't do like these crazy scenes, and so I had these interstitial animations, and we used 2D assets, and we animated them, and we actually... Ryan did an awesome job of animating them, and Travis did an amazing job of creating them. But I knew that I was constrained. I knew I was a smaller dev, and I didn't have the time or the pipeline and the manpower to make these big sequences. So I'd make these small 10-second or less, sometimes more, scenes where I could have it all shot in one environment with a somewhat static camera, and just simple movement and parallax and stuff like that. And I really feel that if they had done that, it would have been more powerful, because right off the bat, Holly and I were watching that opening, and the animation was so poor that it was very off-putting. And then once we got into the game, it was fine, but you don't want your opening sequence to be sort of less than the actual game. You want it to kind of make that pop, obviously. Anyway, I'm rambling here. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, Secrets of Rakuten is a great one to play with the family around. I'm realizing this after I was saying last week that I was playing Brothers, and it got really dark really fast. And because of the art style and the subject matter, I thought it was going to be kind of a family-friendly game, but it was not at all. That being said, I have a bunch of other games here. If people want to check them out, let's see, what else did we have? So those aren't installed. So I guess I could throw Teleglitch back up, unless anybody has, let's see. All right, people on the Twitter are not doing, are talking about this little graph that I've just made. Actually, here, I'll show you guys real quick. Not as exciting, but I just made this graph because normally when I'm on this stream, oh, was that you? Thank you for that, because when I saw that on Twitter, I was like, Oh, maybe I shouldn't play this with her. It was like, it was a, you know, I started to recognize that, and then when I looked on Twitter after I had posted that, I should have looked right away, but nothing bad happened. Anyway, so this graph I just put up on Twitter, because you see how I'm streaming these games, it's kind of funny, because I'm like, well, rather than showing my game development, I'm showing other games development, and that got me to thinking about, like, playing games versus making games, what's more fun. And this is kind of a classic analogy for me, because playing games is always somewhat fun. It can be frustrating or whatever, but it's within this tolerance. And making games can be extremely fun or extremely not fun. Obviously, there's like a lot of stress involved when your money is tied to it and stuff like that. And there's a ton of happiness that can come out of designing something, see it come to life. And it's really frustrating when like your vision either isn't coming to life or you're struggling with it or you don't have the money to make it or whatever. So this is kind of my analogy. I always made this analogy, same thing with being a kid and having kids. Being a kid is kind of like this green where like, oh my God, I got the toy I wanted. Oh no, like I peed in my bed or whatever. There's this, you're just very erratic. And then in your like 20s, you're more like this red line where things have stabilized out. And then when you have kids again, it's like, oh my God, my kid is the most amazing thing in the world. Oh my God, my kid is screaming like nonstop for the last like hour. This sucks. So this graph is kind of this universal point of mine. I feel like that represents my life in so many ways. Anyway, so that's what's going on the Twitter. So they're not recommending games. So I say. Actually, so we did play Teleglitch last week, but it is fun. So, okay, we'll play it a little bit more. And it's infinitely resizable, which is very cool. Ah! Alright. We'll just play a quick game. I will play one run. And that is it. However far I get is how far I get. And that will be that. Whoop. Oh. Alright. So please don't make fun of me because, why is this not going anywhere? Oh. Because I am playing on, like, a super weird ergonomic mouse. I realize now, whenever I hear, YouTubers, how do I do this? Whenever I hear YouTubers constantly like making excuses for bad play, I'm always thinking, and maybe because I suck at video games and I'm I'm an older man or something like that. I don't really know, but I always sit there and say like, why are you worrying about it, dude? You play fine. But now when I talk and I play, I find myself also making excuses as to why I'm no good. Which is kind of funny. Okay. Left? You guys want to go left? Left is fun. So, I'm kind of struggling right now with Duskers. No, I'm not struggling, but I'm having interesting choices right now with Duskers, as I talked about last week, and this whole, like, is it a roguelike, is it not a roguelike thing? Because one of the really cool things about roguelikes, as you'll see, is that I can just pick up this game right now and be like, I'm just going to play. And I know that right now, everything in my game is encapsulated in this one game. And so it might be that if I get to a certain point, then I can start later. But everything is designed around this experience, this run, if you will. And there's something really sexy about that. However, when I designed Duskers, I also was kind of in love with this, I guess you could call it this whole, like, Metroid. Oh, wait, I've already been here. All right. So I'm kind of also in love with this sort of Metroid, sort of doubling back RPG sort of thing where... Alright, that's badness. I'm incredibly in love, and this is important in any survival game almost. That's true. I guess it's more about me having fun. Actually, it's probably more fun sometimes when I suck, because you hear me whining and complaining, which is probably amusing to some degree. I've always been in love when I play games like this with the single shot. Like, you know, instead of, you know, the machine guns type of stuff. I love conserving my bullets and trying to get, like, if it takes 2 shots to take a bad guy out, I like trying to take exactly 2 shots. It just makes me happy. But yeah. So, hey, what's up, Keith? Keith Nemitz, ladies and gentlemen. I'm streaming. I'm not streaming anything important. I'm just streaming me playing video games.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah. If you want, I could stream your video games, and I can just be like, anytime there's anything in the UI that I find confusing, I can just like just whine about it. Yeah, and just bring you over here and demand that you answer for your sins.
That's right, and apologize.
And apologize. Yes. Here, hold on. Wait, I've got the wrong thing on. I gotta see where my camera is pointing. Oh no! No, I was trying to show Keith.
I'm looking.
No, I'm trying to show you to them. There he is.
Oh.
There he is.
I see.
Okay.
I'm a star now.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of doing a lot of dev videos, and then I just kind of got burned out on them. So now I try and show a bunch of games in my Steam library, whatever I've been playing lately.
Right.
And it makes me happy. So.
Yes. I got a huge bunch of games in my Steam library that I wish I were playing.
Yeah. Instead, you're making the games.
I
What are you working on now? Tell everybody at home.
This right here.
What's that? Is that Gathering of the Chest?
That is not Gathering of Chest. That was kind of a joke game, actually.
Okay.
Who knows? That could become something.
It could.
This is my secret project. It's not to go out to Twitter.
Or to be live streamed.
Or live streamed, because it would suck so bad. This is like the first incarnation of rules.
Right.
So yeah, we don't do that.
Awesome. So Keith made. You guys know how I made a game called Chess the Gathering? I don't know if you do know that or not. But I made a game called Chess the Gathering, or a prototype, if you will. And Keith came over with something. In my game, Chess the Gathering is a little bit like chess. It's more chess, and it's got elements of magic in it. And he was trying to make something that was more magic with elements of chess in it.
That's not as interesting because it just ends up being magic with like chess cards.
Right, it's just like a different deck. It's a different deck of magic.
It's a different deck. It's not very compelling.
Right.
But fun exercise, definitely.
Yeah, no, it was fun to play. But yeah. I'm toying in Duskers with how roguelike-y the game is. And so I'm trying to diversify my palette of roguelikes that I've played. That way, like, you know, at the end of the day, really it doesn't matter, but at the end of the day, I do feel self-conscious when I'm making a game in a genre that I don't know well. And that's good, because then you'll make something that's different, and it won't be the same as all the other ones. But I worry about stumbling over things that are just like, would be obvious to someone who played a lot of those games.
Right.
So I don't want to, my dev cycle isn't super long, so I want to make sure that I'm not wasting time learning simple lessons that I could learn just by, you know, spending some time playing games. Really, it's an excuse for me to play games. See? Research.
Not a bad one.
Tax deductible. Have you ever played Teleglitch?
Nope.
It's pretty cool. I'm not usually a fan of games. I don't know if I want to say like this. I'm not usually a fan of games that remind me of what I would call a twin stick shooter, like where I'm moving in one direction and then I'm using either a mouse or the other analog stick to shoot. I'm generally sort of not a huge fan of very rigid dexterity kind of games, which is ironic because A Virus Named Tom is sort of a Twitch game. But this, I don't know, because of the roguelike element, because I am exploring the space, which gives it that, you know, you can double back and you've got a map and stuff like that. It's actually kind of a little bit like Duskers in the way, because I have this persistent universe going on in Duskers. And I really like this. And the combat is incredibly gratifying. It's very simple. Just aim and shoot.
Yeah.
But it's not like a machine gun that sprays. It's like I'm using a handgun. And I know that it takes 2 bullets to kill things, so it's like I want to hit them each with like exactly 2 bullets.
Right.
That makes me happy. But yeah, it's kind of one of those things that's gratifying. And this is one of the things that I think is the strength of roguelikes, is the fact that I can just pick this. Like, instead of worrying about like, oh, do I remember where I was in the quest and all that stuff. I can just pick it up, play, try and get as far as I can, and then put it down, you know? Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, I'm working on an alpha right now for Guskers. I'm putting like a little scavenger hunt in there. And yeah, it's one of those things. It's good to have deadlines, but it's a little bit tight trying to get it all out before the holidays.
So you mean the alpha?
What?
You mean the alpha?
Yeah, the alpha. I'm trying to give it to the people who have pre-ordered because we started taking pre-orders. So I'm trying to give it to anybody that pre-ordered.
Right.
And I feel a certain accountability with that because they've given me money, so I want to give them. It's only an alpha, but I want it to kind of have the elements of the game and at least on some base level represent the game. And of course, you know, you're sending your baby out into the world. So yeah.
Still, people realize what an alpha is.
You know, I feel like Prison Architect really messed people's vision of what an alpha is. Because I played that game and I was like, this is amazing. Uh-oh.
Do they actually have any reason to ever finish the game?
The game Prison Architect?
Prison Architect, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's kind of like, the game works really well with an open style of development, you know? Because they can just kind of keep going until they can't.
Right.
And so, yeah, it's been going for a long time, and it's really worked. Because when I bought it, I had a lot of fun with it. And actually, even though I'm not a huge pre-orderer, I find with that game it's kind of fun. Endless Space is another game. The guys at, is it Amplitude Studios? They do a really good job of continuing to update their games. And so I find it's really fun for me to have it that, like, I play a game and then I go back to it and it's different. Sometimes I'm a little aggravated because I'm like, oh, like I'm used to the old way. But most of, oh wait, did I die? I need a mouse wheel. Here come the excuses. Okay. Sometimes I go back and it's really cool that, like, oh, this thing was a little bit annoying, or oh, here's a new feature, you know? I think that's the hope when you're developing a game and you do something like that.
Oh, sorry, lost my focus here.
Ah. It's alright, I'm getting attacked by a zombie thing. These things happen. Some of the sound effects in this game are great too. It is so gratifying to blow things up. Oh man. I also kind of like, so in Duskers, one of the, when people killed an enemy, all right, because there are enemies in the game, and usually you have to run from them, but every now and then you can kill them, right? By being clever, or, you know, there are weapons in the game. But people would be like, why do I get? Like, they'd kill it, and they'd be like, you know, they'd want, like, coins or ammo or something like that, and I'd be like, you have a bunch of alien guts. Like, what do you think you'd have if you killed an alien, you know? And I kind of like that in this game, I kill things and they don't drop anything. They're just zombie things that have to die, you know? It's like, that's part of the risk reward of the game, right? It's like, there's not a benefit. Like, the benefit to killing them is they don't kill me.
That's right. There may be a narrative purpose, but zombies make it up.
Ah!
Okay.
It's so gratifying when there's like 5 dudes running around you and you like drop some dynamite or whatever and you run and then it just blows up and they all die. Because that was I only had 2 sticks of dynamite.
But you know that's a total Dusker's moment too somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hope. And Duskers usually it's blowing myself up, but
Right. You get to fight back occasionally if you can find the right explosives.
right. You know, I was playing and this is gonna sound absolutely horrible, but there's not like a lot of people following my Twitch stream, so I'm just gonna say it anyway. But so I was playing Dragon Age, which is I have played both of the previous games in the series, and I enjoy it. And I'm gonna die soon because I have no weapons, and
You're wrong to enjoy it. I just want to say that now. Okay?
I'm wrong to enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. It is not an indie game. How dare I?
That's not the reason.
Oh, why is it wrong?
Because I said
Oh, okay.
clearly.
But oh my God, I'm going to level 3. Wow, I thought I'd be dead by now. Okay. Okay, hold on. I have to read the comments right now because people have been commenting. All right. Few games that are great in terms of roguelike. Make you feel like roguelike should make you feel like you're advancing, and in a way that's unique to that run. So Binding of Isaac Rebirth was mentioned. Okay, so I've heard about this, finding this really overpowered item that defines your run. And so I do think that people like that, and I understand that people like that. It seems strange to me. And I'll tell you the reason why it seems strange to me. And I have to get rid of, like, I have to go to, like, okay, make it quiet. All right. So one of the things, let me go on a tirade here. So one of the things that seems really weird to me about people really liking getting overpowered upgrades is I guess to me, I like the game of chess, right? And in the game of chess, it's a little bit, I guess it's a little bit boring because, you know, it's static. And I wish, so I made a game called Chess the Gathering.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
But in that game, yeah, you can upgrade things and stuff like that, but there's no, like, mega destructo cannon that will obliterate the other person's army. And I understand in a game that isn't versus, you can do that, you know, and that's gratifying. But I find that when I'm put in a situation, like this morning on the train, all right,
Okay.
I lost a drone, like, right away, and I was, like, gonna start the game over, but I was like, no, let me see what I can do. And I did, like, this incredible maneuver, like, I just kept staying alive somehow with only, like, 2 or 3 upgrades and, like, 2 drones. And, like, I was taking, like, risks where I'd, like, run out of a room and then, like, redock somewhere else and then run for the power source and close the door because, you know, to get the enemies around and stuff like that. And that was really gratifying. If I had been given a bazooka and I got to blow, like, half the ship up, yeah, it's, like, this instant gratification of, like, wow, that was awesome. But
It's gonna get tiring.
it's kind of like in this game right now. I really like the hand pistol, and it's cool when I get the shotgun for a little bit, but, like, that hand pistol's really cool because it's a one-to-one kind of skill shot, you know?
Yeah.
So I understand, like, the idea of an OP upgrade, and I might do that just because people like that so much. But it is kind of strange to me. I think it just taps into that part of the brain. It's just like, I like this thing. But I understand what you're talking about this inevitable sense of loss when you die. And in Duskers, right now, I could either make it that you have 1 run. I can make it that you have, it's a persistent universe across runs, and all you do is you lose your stuff in between. Or I could make it in between, which could be the best or worst of both worlds, where you have a limited number of runs, and then after those runs, the universe resets. And there's kind of, like, good and bad underneath all of that stuff. And that's what I'm playing with right now. So I think in the alpha that I'm going to put out fairly soon, I think it's going to be on the latter half where the universe is always persistent and you just keep playing until you're out of resources because you'll drain the universe of resources, which is a nice motivation rather than just arbitrarily, oh, it's been 5 runs, so I'm done. But yeah, Rogue Legacy, I have not played. I should play. But that's the game that's incredibly polarizing because it has a lot of persistence. Or I think there's gold that's persistent between runs. And so a lot of, like, core roguelike players don't like that. And the reason that they don't is because they feel like they have to just, you know, mine gold for a while so that then they can unlock things or something like that. I haven't played it. But a lot of other people love it because every run they're incrementally making progress toward an ultimate goal, which is a really cool thing as well. So I should try that. I've avoided it because, like I said, I'm not really like a hardcore platformer, really good dexterity player. Love Super Meat Boy because it was fast. Like I could restart really quickly, but I should play it. And then Legend of Dungeon, I do have that. I know those guys and love those guys. We did a panel with them actually. It's the balance between learning curve and getting better and playing a fast round. Yeah. That's the thing. Duskers, an average dungeon is going to take you somewhere between, like, it could take 2 minutes or it could take 25 minutes. So it's a little bit more involved. It's kind of like an XCOM battle rather than like a, you know, a quick level in Binding of Isaac or something like that. But yeah. Maybe I made the universe too big. That could be. Because FTL, they kind of kept the... I don't know. It might all be fine. So I have played Out There now. I have that on my phone. And that is an interesting balance. And that does some of the inventory management, the resource management that I'm trying to do now in Duskers. Like in Duskers now, instead of just getting what upgrades you can and then they break over time and you're replacing them, now you can scrap them and turn them into other mods or repair your drones, and you need to scrap them. So that's another element of it, and it's more choice than just my upgrade broke. I still have upgrades breaking because that forces you to use new strategies, but I also have this inventory management kind of thing going on. Right, so I haven't played Dungeon... well, I haven't played it enough to really comment on it. Yeah, so dramatically changing the way you play is kind of more what I'm getting at, and I think maybe that's what you were also talking about. So what you're talking about with changing the strategy, so this gets back to my Dragon Age example. All right, so I'm going to love Dragon Age Inquisition. It's going to happen, okay? But every RPG I play for about the first, I don't know, 2-3 hours, I am annoyed with it. Because I'm learning the game and I'm getting into the fiction and I'm not yet committed yet. And one of the things that's annoying me is that I come across a sword. And that sword is better or worse than the sword that I have. And if it's better, then I take that sword, and the other sword I sell. And if it's worse, then I just sell it. And this is fine. It's not like a big decision or anything like that. But because the inventory management can be obnoxious between 4 characters, it starts to get a little bit tedious, and you're not making a decision. I feel like in Duskers, when you get an upgrade, that upgrade is relevant. Because it's almost like I don't have a sword and now I have a sword, or I don't have anything and now I have a shield. And so it will affect your strategy. And this is what you guys are talking about with roguelikes, where getting an upgrade should affect your strategy. It should affect how you're playing the game. And then those in conjunction with each other should do that, just like a good Magic deck, right? Like if you build a good Magic deck, then all your cards are working together. The only problem is in this game, of course, like you don't get to pre-build your Magic deck. Like, you're just going to have to accept the cards that you're dealt. But that forces you to come up with creative solutions to problems. And like I was talking with Lexi the other day, the more stuff that I put in, the more the system can feed on itself. Like right now, for example, I'm always wanting to suck people out into space, and sometimes a ship won't have another airlock other than the one I went in. And that's fine, because that's something I have to deal with. But it might be really fun that I can undock from that and float out in space. And then I could use that airlock if I'm very clever. But now I don't have a ship anymore, and I've got to redock through that exact same place to get my drones out. So it's kind of like a risk-reward sort of thing. So the more things, and then blowing up doors, like sometimes I'm trapped, and if I had a mine or a Gatling gun or something like that, if those damage the doors, then I could use them to open a door. And why do you need to open a door? There's lots of situations where you may or may not want to do that as part of your strategy. So the more I can let different upgrades do weird things that will just affect the world in general, the more combinations can come about organically, which I think is kind of the hope, the idea. But I'm not working on that right now. I'm working on the metagame. And I have no bullets in either gun, so all I have is a knife. And I'm going to die. But it's good life. But we knew I was going to die when I started, because 'tis a roguelike. No, I don't... What? I'm sorry that I'm not reading the story right now, but I'm sure you guys don't want to read it. Ah!
When does the Double Fine Sushi Chef show up?
Double Fine Sushi Chef. Yeah! What is this?
Little refrigerated car past all the cubicles and makes a sushi right there for you?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still waiting for that. I'm sure that'll come. Oh, come on. Ah! I'm getting better with the knife, Keith.
Stabby stab?
Stab. This game is getting very stabby. When one lacks ammo, the game gets stabby. What? Give me the stuff. Oh no. Ooh, heavy rifle. That sounds good.
Now, can you take weapons from opponents?
No, I don't think so. I think you just kind of find them scattered throughout. And that's the funny thing about games, is that sometimes you'd be like, why is there just a random weapon laying about? And it kind of makes some sense, but it kind of doesn't. But who cares? It's fun.
Back at old man Murray's tirade about crates.
Oh, I hate bashing crates. And that's not because that random things wouldn't be in crates. It's just obnoxious to have to break the crate. Like, just put the damn thing like lying out, you know.
It was originally like a Christmas present, you know.
Right.
Here's a nice present. You get to open it. I mean, that's fun, but again, it has limited lifespan.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing, is it's so pervasive in games. I think that's what drives me like crazy. Like, I don't like things where I have to... Oh, God. It's fine. Okay, and I'm dead. I don't like things where I have to arbitrarily, like... Now, to be fair, I have rations, like, scattered throughout the ship. Mm-hmm. But it's just it's really an arbitrary way of saying you have to explore the ship.
Sure.
And the more you explore, in theory, like, the more progress you make, so that then you can live it to fight another day.
It would be like vending machines, you know, stuff that might actually be... You know,
right, and it's not even really the justification behind the fiction. It's just like, I guess maybe it is. Maybe it is, because you just really feel like when you're going through and you break boxes and stuff, it just feels dumb, right? And I don't want to break boxes. It's like...
But anytime you can make the world more immersive, you know, more real, more believable, you know, it's just going to help.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the thing, is that what you're trying to do with the fiction, I mean, unless it's a story-driven game, you're trying to create atmosphere, and you're trying to, like, complement the gameplay, and just make it so that that's a more enriching experience, and then give them, you know, enough, like, this is a bunch of pixels, and I'm sitting here imagining that I'm running around this, you know, this environment that, in my mind, is, you know, much more real. Oh, yeah.
Ooh, I don't know how long you're going to stream for.
Only for another 8 minutes.
Okay.
But yeah, so that is something that's interesting about Rebirth, how you can only collect the heart if it'll fill up a full heart. And I think that's interesting. Like, I think that that's cool, because instead of it just being like maxing out your health, all of a sudden you might want to get hurt to get that extra heart, or not. I think that, like, little things like that, little touches like that, can really make a game a little bit more interesting. Let me see. Did I go through all the games I was going to go through? I think I did. Here's, real quick, because you guys probably haven't played it, here's another game that I will play called Light. This, originally, let me see if I can get it so that it's not full screen, so that it doesn't screw up my whole thing. Options. There we go. Okay. And then... where is the... there we go. Okay. Alright. So this... no. Level select. Sure, I don't even know what I'm doing here. So this is a game that originally, when I was making Duskers, I looked at a lot because, whoa, I move so fast compared to, I move so fast compared to Televich, it's freaking me out. So this is a game that I was thinking about with Duskers simply because you have this field of view that you see. You see how it's really dark there, and then when I open this up, the shadows all change, and it's based on my vision. And maybe streaming this is making it a little bit messed up as it's kind of flickering right there. I don't know if you guys see that. But yeah, so the idea here is that it's a stealth game, and it's as simple a stealth game as you can kind of get, which I like because it makes it kind of pure. So you're trying to, you know, usually just hack into terminals. Here, hold on, I gotta figure out where I'm going. Is there anywhere else to go? Do I go back up these stairs? Oh, I have to hold it down, sorry. So you'll go in here and you'll hack this thing. This is the only thing, I didn't like this at first, this interface, because what you do is on the right here, you'll have a bunch of things that you can unlock from this terminal, and there was no decision to be made. You just click on all of these things, so you'd be like, why wouldn't I just unlock everything? But I'm realizing what they're actually doing with this is they're leading your eye to let you know where that thing is, and it's basically a series of, here's the key and here's the gate, and I'm going to give you the key and I'm going to show you where the gate is. So from that perspective, it's not that bad. Because really what they're doing is they're just trying to make you sneak around and not get caught, which is fun. And then, you know, tell you a little bit of story. And then try to avoid the authorities, which is very simple. It's very, I guess one might say elegant, in that it's stripping down the stealth genre into, like, it's this sort of essentials. And it's got a cool soundtrack. And now is where I get a little bit confused because I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I kind of jumped in the middle of the game. I don't have a ton of time left. But wait, am I supposed to take out this target? Okay. Oh, maybe they're teaching me how to do this. Oops. Okay, so I just knock somebody out and put them in the closet. Okay, now I can leave. Alright. So the thing that's really kind of cool about this game is that it's actually, yeah, like I said, like it's very simple, and you're just trying to avoid these red guys. And then you can switch into them, and if you'll notice, see that when I go too close to them, they get upset at me. And when I switch into their outfit, so check this out, if I go in here normally, his range is really, really long. Like, check this out. He'll turn around, and he'll see me from really far away, but if I switch into this, what's it called? Into an outfit, then that distance is a lot smaller, and so it's easier for me to kind of get around. Whoops. I didn't realize that when you unlock a door, it just immediately kind of unlocks and opens. But so this game has its problems, but I do believe that I enjoyed it and I played it all the way through. The big complaint is sort of that it's really short, and it is. You can beat it in probably like an hour and a half. But for me, I found it enjoyable enough that was fine. The developers were talking about putting more content in, so I think that's pretty cool. It's also, you know, very sort of contrived, like, you know, go from one thing to the next and stuff like that. And there's not really much. It's not procedural or anything like that, so it's the same missions each time. But I found it to be pretty fun. And again, it's kind of like the purity of the, you know, just the purity of, like, all I'm doing is trying to sneak around. And this is an example that I'll show you real quick, where like I can do multiple things, and so it's just like click, 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 which seems dumb, but then you've got to keep this in your mind a little bit, like where these different things are, and you get a little bit lost. And I know that everybody wants this magic line that just points you where you are in the compass and all that stuff, and I don't like that. I don't like it because it just means I'm just following this line, and that's no fun. For me, like creating a mental model of this in my mind and trying to remember where things are and misremembering where things are, that's fun for me. And that's part of the game. So that's my little mini rant on that. I am going to log off on the Mega Booth channel because if it lets me, yeah, because I think Drinkbox is up. And then for you guys, I'm going to quickly read what else you guys had to say. Yeah, so that's another thing, is this whole it's not a big time commitment with a roguelike, which I also enjoy. I like the idea that I'm less reticent to pick up a roguelike because I'm like, oh, it's just going to be run. It's only going to take so long. And I know that I don't have to remember everything in my brain because this one run is its own story. And that's the sexiness of that I kind of want to bring back into Duskers. But I'm also in love with this whole I can revisit an area. And not like a bone file kind of thing, more like I know this area is here and I can come back here because my objective is a little bit more complicated. But yeah, so those are kind of things, kind of the things that I'm interested in doing. But yeah, so that was kind of fun. Got to show some more games off and talk a little bit about game design. I guess we played Light, Teleglitch, Secrets of Racketon, and Electicon. I guess we only played those 3. Oh, and I talked about some of the others that I didn't have installed and would take too long to install. But yeah, hopefully this was fun for you guys. Let me know if you want me to keep it up. We can do it again in other weeks, or if you have other ideas, that would be cool. Always fun chatting with you guys about game design and stuff like that. And with Duskers, we're hoping to get the alpha out to anybody who pre-ordered before the holidays if we can. It's stressful, but hopefully we'll be able to do it. And then you guys can give us feedback on that, because there'll be plenty that's broken with it, and I've made it incredibly hard as well, which is just what I do. But all right, thanks for stopping by as always, and I will see you guys next time.